The Concert for the Worker, 1994.
Good evening and welcome. We're here to celebrate Labor Day. It's great to have a long weekend at the end of summer so we can take some time to do what makes us happy, to appreciate the beauty of our surroundings here, to spend time with our families and friends. We need this time to restore our bodies and spirits before a new round of work, of study, of life. But we're fortunate to have this day for another reason too. It gives us an opportunity to reflect on the experiences of others as they went about their labors and lives. In America in 1994, many of us are blessed with the ability to exercise our right to fair and decent working conditions, but it's not always been so. In fact, it's a very recent development. Tonight, we'll be presenting a selection of narrative, poetry, and song from the last century. Some of these are harsh pieces, which speak of starvation and killing work. Others talk of the pride in a job well done. There are songs of employment, songs of unemployment. Some pieces may bring you to tears, some may make you laugh. That's life, and that's labor. In the introduction to the book, Hard-Hitting Songs for Hard-Hit People, John Steinbeck wrote,
"Songs are the statement of a people. You can learn more about people by listening to their songs than in any other way. For into the songs go all the hopes and hurts, the angers, fears, the wants and aspirations. Working people sing of their homes and of their troubles, but the rhythms have the beat of the work. The long and short balls of the sea shanty with tempos of capstan and sheets, the lifting rhythms, the swinging rhythms, and the slow, rolling songs of the Southwest, built on the hoofbeat of a walking horse. The work is the song, and the song is the people. It would be a good idea to listen very closely to these songs, to listen for the rhythms of work, and over them the words of anger and survival."
We invite you to settle back now and listen as we honor workers everywhere.
Immigrants, the Indians, to the European and African and Oriental people who transformed woods and swamp into city and field. This land has Farmers and housewives turned the soil and built homes. Boatmen navigated treacherous waterways. Craftsmen, mill workers, plainsmen, and slaves. They built America with their hands and brains and courage. When they joined together in the mid-1700s to help win American independence, a new tradition was born, working together. It was one of the strengths that has made this nation possible.
I hear America singing. The very carols I hear, those of mechanics, each one singing his as it should be, light and strong.
The carpenter singing his as he measures his plank or beam. The mason singing his as he makes ready for work or leaves off work. The boatman singing what belongs to him in his boat.
The deckhand singing on the steamboat deck. The shoemaker singing as he sits at his bench. The hatter singing as he stands.
The woodcutter's song. The plowboy's on his way in the morning, or at noon, intermission, or at sundown. The delicious singing of the mother, or of the young wife at work.
Or of the girl sewing or washing, each singing what belongs to him or her and to none else. The day that belongs to the day.
At night, the party of young fellows, robust and friendly, singing with open mouths their strong, melodious songs.
The early settlers experienced great trial and deprivation, many times brought about by the forces of nature. To an agricultural people, disastrous loss of a harvest brought hardship and even starvation for some. Stephen Foster wrote the song Hard Times as a call to all to be mindful of the suffering of others.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a song, a sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale, drooping maiden who toils her life away with a worn heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be merry, 'tis sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music bright and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices be silent, their pleading looks still say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more.
industrialization, a new class of people arose, the industrial worker. But unlike their ancestors, the hardships experienced by workmen were almost entirely man-made. Perhaps no industry better exemplifies the experience of the working class than miners, coal miners specifically. Industrializations required vast amounts of energy, and coal was the fuel used to create that energy. It lay buried in the bowels of the earth, and it needed someone to go down and get it. Early mining conditions were as primitive as anyone could imagine. Men with picks and shovels literally burrowed their way into the earth and carried the coal out on their backs. Merle Travis wrote about those conditions in a song, Dark as a Dungeon.
Come and listen, you fellas, so young and so fine. And seek not your fortune in the dark, dreary mine. It will form as a habit, seep in your soul, till the blood of your veins runs as black as the coal. Where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls and the sun never shines. Well, it's dark as a dungeon way down in the mine. Well, as many a man I have known in my day, who lives just to labor his whole life away, like a fiend with his dope and a drunkard his wine. A man will have a lust for the lure of the mind, where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls and the sun never shines. Well, it's dark as a dungeon way down in the mine. Well, I hope when I'm gone and the ages shall roll, that my body will blacken and turn into coal. Then I'll look from the door of my heavenly home, and I'll pity the miner a-digging my bones, where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls and the sun never shines. Where it's dark as a dungeon way down in the mine.
Children were not immune to the toil and danger of working life. As in this song written by Ewan MacColl, entitled School Days Over, the reading immediately following is a description written at the end of the last century by a newspaperman reporting the conditions of the young boys who worked at the end of the mines, moving the chunks of coal through the conveyor belts so they could be processed up to the machinery.
School days over, come on then, John. Time you were getting your pit boots on with your sack and moleskin trousers. Time you were on your way. Time you were learning the miner's job, earning a miner's pay. Come on then, Jim. It's time to go. Time you were working down below. Time you were handling a pick and shovel. Time you were on your way. Time you were learning the collier's job, earning a collier's pay. Get up, die. It's nearly light. Time you were down to the anthracite. The morning mist is on the valley. Time you were on your way. Time you were learning the pitman's job, earning a pitman's pay. School day's over. Come on then, John. Time you were getting your pit boots on with your sack and moleskin trousers. Time you were on your way. Time you were learning the miner's job, earning the miner's pay. School day's over.
In a little room in this big black shed, a room not 20 feet square, 40 boys are picking their lives away. The floor of the room is an inclined plane, and a stream of coal pours constantly in. They work here in this little black hole all day and every day, trying to keep cool in summer, trying to keep warm in winter, picking away among the black coals, bending over till their little spines are curved, never saying a word all the livelong day. These little fellas go to work in this cold, dreary room at 7 o'clock in the morning and work till it's too dark to see any longer. For this, they get $1 to $3 a week. Not 3 boys in this roomful could read or write, shut in from everything that is pleasant, with no chance to learn, with no knowledge of what is going on around them, with nothing to do but work, grinding their little lives away in this dusty room. They are no more than the wire screens that separate the great lumps of coal from the small. They had no games. When their day's work is done, they are too tired for that. They know nothing but the difference between slate and coal.
Through the years, as the children grew up and grew old in the coal dust and the scars of the life left their mark, worn by some as a badge of pride, clear as a tattoo.
Traveling down that coal town road, been listening to my rubber tires whine. Goodbye to Buckeye, to White Sycamore, I'm leaving you behind. I've been a coal man all of my life, I've been laying down track in a hole. I got a back like an ironwood, bit by the wind, blood veins blue as the coal. Somebody said that's a strange tattoo you have on the side of your head. I said that's the mark of a number 9 coal. A little more and I'd be dead. I love the rumble, yes I love the dark, I love the cool of the place. But it's going down this new road just looking for a job. This traveling and looking I hate. Looking and traveling I hate. Someday when I die and go to heaven, the land of my dreams, I won't have to worry I'm losing my job to hard times or big machines. 'Cause I got no job, Lord, I got no pay, I just got me a worried soul. This blue tattoo on the side of my head was left me by the number 9 coal. Traveling down that coal town road, been listening to my rubber tires whine. Goodbye to Buckeye, to White Sycamore, you know I'm leaving you behind. I've been a coal man all of my life. I've been laying down track in a hole. I got a back like an ironwood bent by the wind. I got blood veins blue as the coal. But I got no job, Lord, I got no pay. I just got me a worried soul. This blue tattoo on the side of my head was left me by the number 9 coal. Left me by the number 9 coal.
One employer candidly said, "When my machines get old and useless, I reject them and get new ones. These people are a part of my machinery."
George Baer, president of the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad, said, "Suffer? They don't suffer. Why, they can't even speak English."
Jay Gould, coal, railroad, and steel magnate in the 1880s, said, "I can hire 1/2 of the working class to kill the other half."
Andrew Carnegie, another industrial giant, managed to avoid seeing the extreme poverty and suffering of the working class. He challenged, "I defy any man to show me that there is pauperism in the United States."
Organizing and worker resistance were not confined to mining. Some labor organizations cut across industrial lines. The International Workers of the World, also known as the Wobblies, used humor, drama, and above all, song to rally and encourage organization. Their dreams of the one big union has yet to be realized, but their legacy of song and solidarity survives. One of the best known union organizers and songwriters was a Swedish immigrant named Joe Hill. He was well loved by the workers and well hated by the bosses. He was arrested, tried, and convicted on trumped-up murder charges. Just before he was shot, he managed to get a message out with his last will and testament.
My will is easy to decide, for there is nothing to divide. My kin don't need to fuss and moan. Moss doesn't cling to a rolling stone. My body, oh, if I could choose, I would to ashes it reduce, and let the merry breezes blow my dust to where some flowers grow. Perhaps some fading flower then would come to life and bloom again. This is my last and final will. Good luck to you, all of you, Joe Hill.
Sung in Seattle this last week by Joan Baez, and one of our members, Maggie McQuaid, saw her do it there a few days ago. And she said, "You know what Monday is," and I guess you do. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I, "But Joe, you're 10 years dead." "I never died," said he. "I never died," said he. The copper bosses killed you, Joe. They shot you, Joe. Said I, "Takes more than guns to kill a man." Says Joe, I didn't die. Says Joe, I didn't die. Standing there as big as life and smiling with his eyes, Joe says what they could never kill went on to organize, went on to organize. From San Diego up to Maine, in every mine and mill, where working men defend their rights, it's there you'll find Joe Hill. It's there you'll find Joe Hill. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I, but Joe, you're 10 years dead. I never died, said he. I never died, said he.
Another champion of the worker was Jim Larkin of Dublin, who along with the famed James Connolly led the general strike of 1913. The company owners tried to lock out members of the Irish Transport and General Workers' Union. 32 other unions joined in and effectively shut down all of commerce in the city. 100,000 people faced hunger and want. They faced it for 8 months and by and large remained stubborn to the end. Larkin himself was no stranger to suffering. At the age of 9, he was working 40 hours a week for less than 50 cents.
I'm just going to rant a little bit more about Jim Larkin, the fine orator that he was. I don't know if Nora has mentioned this already, but when Jim Larkin first came to Dublin in 1908, he was 32 years of age, a handsome young man, tall and broad-shouldered, with a commanding presence. His hat was dark and wide-brimmed. This is from James Plunkett, who's a great Dublin writer. And he says, "My mother remembers it being rumoured in those early days that he never moved his hat because he was an antichrist and was obliged to hide a third eye that was set in the centre of his forehead." Anyway, as it happened, Jim Larkin was born in 1876, was the second son of an impoverished Irish parents who had emigrated to Liverpool, and he spent nearly all of the first 5 years of his childhood with his grandparents in Newry. It was a very brief childhood, as Nora has told you about, how he had worked for 2 and 6 a week. He was not a man then, or at any point throughout a stormy lifetime, to submit to being overruled by others. And because of that, he tried to change the way things were done in Dublin and the way the people lived. At the time, the slum dwellers numbered in the hundreds of thousands in Dublin. And it wasn't the unions that he started out with to create, it was to try and create better social conditions in Dublin City. From 1908 to 1913, the business life of the city staggered from crisis to crisis. As the unskilled workers in revolt, the employers fighting back at first individually, then with attempted solidarity through their federation. And this led to what they call the 1913 lockout. The solution that was eventually proposed by the Federation of Employers to the banning of the union altogether led to the clashes and riots that developed in 1913. And the battle opened in August of that year when employees throughout the city were issued with a form and that were requested to sign. The document contained this sentence: "I agree to immediately resign my membership of the Irish Transport and General Workers' Union and I further undertake that I will not join or in any way support that union. The document was issued indiscriminately to transport union members and members of various other unions. The decision to issue it may have been based on a miscalculation on the assumption that Larkinism could be isolated from the rest of the trade unionism and liquidated separately. The transport men refused to sign the document, and as the time limit in each job expired, they were locked out. It was at this point that Larkin's grips on the Dublin working class was revealed at its most impressive. He had proved extraordinary power in Belfast in 1907 when he persuaded nationalist and orange workers to march together as an expression of class solidarity. This colossal expression of defiance shocked the Federation. 400 firms began to lock out right, left and centre, and soon the city was paralysed and about 100,000 people faced hunger and want. They faced it for 8 months and by and large remained stubborn to the end. His methods attract the best spirits in Ireland to the workers' side, and as a result of 1913, the cause of the poor became identified with their larger plans for a new and free Ireland. At this point, the unions and the Citizens' Army and a lot of other organisations kind of fall into a grey area, and the Easter Rising of 1916 developed shortly afterwards. But by 1916, Larkin had gone to America to raise funds as he announced to rebuild the union and to tell American labour of Irish problems and methods. While there, he barely escaped hanging at the hands of hired thugs on a couple of occasions, and eventually he was sentenced to 10 years penal servitude for what the court termed criminal syndicism. He served 3 years in Sing Sing before being released by the order of Governor Al Smith in 1923. He then went back to Ireland and was a hero to the working classes. I just want to read a quote that he was said to have made. Once, when an eminent churchman warned the people against him, he said, "Hell has no terrors for me. I've lived there. 36 years of hunger and poverty have been my portion. The mother who bore me had to starve and work, and the father I loved had to fight for a living. I knew what it was to work when I was 9 years old. They can't terrify me with hell. Better to be in hell with Dante and Davitt than to be in heaven with Carson and Murphy."
Running fast, and we poor shifters can get no rest. Shifting bobbins coarse and fine, they fairly make you work for your 10 and 9. Oh, dear me, I wish the day was done, running up and down the paths is no fun. Shifting piece and spinning, warp, weft and twine, they fairly make you work for your 10 and 9. Oh, dear me, the world is ill divided. Them that works the hardest are the least provided. But I must lie contented, dark days will find, to feed and clothe my babies off at 10 and 9. Oh, dear me, the mill is running fast, running up and down the paths is no fun.
shifting beats and spinning, warp, weft, and twine. They fairly make you work for your 10 and 9.
The wobbly singer Utah Phillips speaks passionately about the conditions in the mills at the beginning of this century. The laborers that worked in Lawrence, Massachusetts were contract laborers brought over from France and the Low Countries. They were not good enough to be citizens, but good enough to live and work their whole lives spitting up blood at the looms. They were not good enough to vote, as if voting would do them any good. 27,000 people struck, most of them women. They were dying at the average age of 26 because of the dust in the weave rooms. Can you imagine that? Like any strike, the issues, of course, were wages, hours, and conditions. Well, the women met and talked about it. They decided the wages, hours, and conditions. This is important, for it takes more than these things to be a woman. And it takes more than those 3 things to lead any decent kind of a life. The next day, the newspapers noticed that there was a young woman parading down the street carrying a large sign that said, "Bread, yes, but roses too." And in Lawrence, this became the Bread and Roses Strike. They marched for 2 bitter years. They had to ship their kids out of town because there was no way to feed them.
As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lots gray, are brightened by the beauty that a sudden sun discloses. And the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we battle too for men can ne'er be free till our slavery's at an end. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts can starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we come marching, marching, 100 million dead, they're crying through our voices their ancient cry for bread. Small art and love and beauty, their drudging spirits new. Yes, it's bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we come marching, marching, we're standing proud and tall, for the rising of the women means the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler tend the toil where one reposes, but a sharing in life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses, bread and roses.
In 1920, a factory worker and a fish peddler, both active in labor causes, were dragged off a streetcar in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and booked for murder. Witnesses swore that Nicola Sacco and Bartholomew Vanzetti had been nowhere near the scene of the crime. The prosecutor and the judge didn't dispute this, but insisted that Sacco and Vanzetti, though innocent of this particular crime, were morally guilty because they are enemies of our existing institutions. After a 7-week trial, the jury found them guilty. The sentence was death. Some 50 years later, the verdict was reversed and Sacco and Vanzetti were officially exonerated.
Say there, did you hear the news? Sacco worked at Trim and Shoes. Vanzetti was a travelling man, pushed the cart round with his hand. Two good men's a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Two good men's a long time gone. They left me here to sing this song. Sacco was born across the sea, somewhere over in Italy. Vanzetti, born of parents fine, drank the best Italian wine. Sacco sailed the sea one day and he landed up in the Boston Bay. Vanzetti sailed the ocean blue, landed up in Boston too. Two good men's a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Two good men's a long time gone. They left me here to sing this song. Sacco was a family man. Sacco's wife 3 children had. Vanzetti was a dreaming man. The book was always in his hand. Sacco made his bread and butter in the factory, the best shoe cutter. Vanzetti worked day and night, told the workers how to fight. Two good men's a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Two good men's a long time gone. Left me here to sing this song. I'll tell you if you ask me about this payroll robbery. 2 clerks were shot in the shoe factory round the streets of Old Grey 3. I'll tell you the prosecutor's name, Captain Adams William came. Them and the judge were the best of friends, and they did more tricks than circus clowns. Well, the judge, he told his friends around, he was going to put them radicals down. Anarchist bastards was the name. The judge, he gave these 2 fine men. 2 good men's a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. 2 good men's a long time gone. Left me here to sing this song. Sacco docked in '98 and he dirt along the dirty street. Told the workers organise in the electric cherry light. All you people ought to be like Sacco and Vanzetti. All you people that came tonight, let's sing this song till we get it right. 2 good men's a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. 2 good men's a long time gone. Left me here to sing this song.
We'll have a short intermission.
industrialization had made a few hundred families fantastically rich, it had reduced millions of Americans to a state of which, as Hunter wrote, they lacked a sanitary dwelling and sufficient food and clothing to keep the body in working order. The standard that a man would demand for his horses or slaves. In the first part of the century, some million U.S. workers were under 16 years old, and they toiled up to 13 hours a day for a pittance. To improve their lot, Senator William Borah of Idaho introduced a bill that sought to have the government do for children what it has already done for calves and pigs.
One of the early labor organizations, the Knights of Labor, had as their creed, "An injury to one is the concern of all."
In 1898, Samuel Gompers, founder of the American Federation of Labor, stated, "What do we want? More schoolhouses and less jails. More books and less arsenals. More learning, less crime. More leisure, less greed. More justice, less revenge."
An unemployed woman, quoted in Studs Terkel's Working, gave her philosophy of work. Being part of something, making something happen was important. That's the difference between being alive and being dead. Now, I'm not making it happen. This song is by a union organizer out of North Carolina, a man named Cy Kahn. This song is about what happens when a community becomes dependent on a certain industry and all of a sudden the industry is gone. In this case, the linen or the textile industry being moved to more favorable economic climates in Latin America and in Asia, leaving behind generations of people who have been accustomed to the nobility and the dignity that their labor has given them over the years. The question is now, where do they go from here? It's a question that many working people in Alaska are asking themselves now too. This is called Paragon Mill. Shut down and it ain't coming back. And the only tune I hear is the sigh of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. There's no children at all in the narrow empty streets since the mill has pulled out. It's so quiet I can't sleep. There's no use anymore for our cotton, it seems. Now the sound of the loom seems to haunt all my
young to die, and now what will become of my old man and I? Since the mill has pulled out, it's the only life I know. Tell me, what can I do? Tell me, where can I go? And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin.
I guess since no one else came on, I must be next. I'm going to do one by Woody Guthrie called Ain't Got No Home in This World. And he originally wrote it about people having to wander from the East Coast to the West Coast for work. But I think it's probably just as relevant today as some people now have to drift across the sea in life rafts for work and sneak across the border. I ain't got no home, I'm just rambling round. I'm just a wandering worker, I roam town to town. Police make it hard wherever I may go. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Well, my brothers and my sisters, they've traveled down this road. It's a hot and dusty road that a million feet have trod. Baker took my home and he drove me from my door. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Well, now I'm just rambling, let's see what I can see. In this wicked world, it's a funny place to be. Gambling man is rich and the working man is poor. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Well, I ain't got no home, I'm just rambling around. I'm just a wandering worker, I roam from town to town. Police make it hard wherever I may go. And I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Thank you.
This will be a song from the Depression area about panhandling. Once I built a railroad, I made it run. I made it run against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower up to the sun, bricks and mortar and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee Doodle Dum. $500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. don't you remember you called me Al? It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember I was your pal? Brother, can you spare a dime? Buddy, can you spare a dime? Hey, brother, can you spare one little old dime?
But we're not on the air, there we are. We're going to do a song called Men of Worth that was written by a Scotsman by the name of Archie Fisher. And we were discussing it just a few minutes ago in the dressing room. I have to say the dressing room, I've never had the opportunity to say it before. So, and Maggie kind of saw it as an optimistic, or sees it or hears it as an optimistic song, and I don't. Because it discusses how people leave land jobs like farming and agriculture and that kind of job, and fishing jobs, sea jobs, to take jobs with oil companies that came into Scotland back about 8 or 10 years ago. And the same thing happened in Ireland too. I have some friends of mine who are now out of work again. So to me it may have been a short-term optimism, you know. So that's what this song discusses, like, what will you do after the oil companies have gone, you know? So it's very apt for Alaska.
The reason I see it as an optimistic song is only that, I mean, not that like the oil companies are going to pull out. It's just that things change and people can change and adapt to meet them, and that to me is the spirit behind the song. But I'm not the one singing.
But they will pull out eventually. I have to get the last word. This is my song. Leave the land behind, laddies, better days to find. The companies have the money and they'll soon teach you the skills. Greenfields far away, lad, the 40s and the brave. Be a madman or a roustabout, they'll soon teach you the drill. But who'll tend me sheep, lads, when I'm far o'er the deep, on the Neptune or the Sequest, when the snow comes to the hills? Leave the fish and trade, lad, there's money to be made. The handline and the Shetland long are of a bygone day. Come to Aberdeen, lads, the sights you've never seen. Be a welder on the pipeline or a fitter at McVeigh. But when the job is o'er and you're both crossed on the shore, how will you feed your families when the companies go away? There's harbours to be built and there's cliffs to be built that rest upon the ocean floor like pylons in the sea. Pipelines to be made and 100 different trades that pay a decent living wage, the likes of you and me. I know you're men of worth and you're the best that's in the north. Not men of need but men who greet the work that comes their way. Come puppet to the shore, a new industry is born. Now Peterhead and Cromarty will never be the same. I know you're men of worth, you're the best that's in the north. Not men of greed, but men who need the work that comes their way. Come puppet to the shore, a new industry is born. Now Peterhead and Cromarty will never be the same.
guide us home safely, the star of the sea. I remember the number of days on the shore, the air doesn't move and the people want more. I think of the movement, the swell and the breeze, and the freedom of life as a fisherman. Star of the sea, star of the sea, guide us home safely through the wild waters safely, in past the reef to the harbor of peace. Guide us home safely, the star of the sea.
Woody Guthrie wrote Deportees after reading a report of a plane crash in Los Gatos, Mexico. The plane was flying home a group of Mexican workers who had entered the United States illegally. Prompted by promises of high-paying jobs from unscrupulous growers in the California orchards, the newspapers didn't bother listing the names of those killed. Like surplus crops, they were just to be got rid of.
The crops are all in and the peaches are rotten. The oranges are piled in their creosote dumps. They're flying them back to that Mexico border. Takes all their wages to wade back again. Goodbye to you, Juan, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mes amigo, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportee. My father's own father, he waded that river, took all the money he made in his life. My sisters and brothers come working the fruit trees, rode on that truck till they took down and died. Goodbye to you, Juan, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mes amigo, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportee. Well, some are illegal and some are not wanted. Our work contract's out and we have to move on. 600 miles to that Mexico border. They chase us like rustlers, like outlaws like these. Goodbye, you Juan, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportee. The sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. A fireball of lightning and shook all our heads. Who are all these dear friends all scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Goodbye to you, Juan, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mes amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you grow our big oranges? Is this the best way we can grow our good fruit? To die and be scattered, to rot on the topsoil, to be known by no name except deportees. Goodbye to you, Juan, goodbye, Rosalita. Adios, mes amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportee.
Written by an anonymous Mexican poet. My father could never write a poem, but when he lined up his plow with a pine tree on a distant hill, he made a furrow straight as an arrow across the length of his labor. My father could not write very many words, but when he brought in his crop in the heat of the summer afternoon, he created a poem from the earth.
Watch the field behind the plow. Turn the straight dark rows. Feel a trickle in your clothes. Blow the dust cake from your nose. Hear the tractor's steady roar. Oh, you can't stop now. There's a quarter section more or less to go. And it figures that the rain keeps its own sweet time. You can watch it come for miles, but you guess you've got a while. So ease the throttle out ahead. Every rod's a game, and there's victory in every quarter mile. Poor old Kuzik down the road, the heartache hail and hoppers got him down, gave it up and went to town. And Emmett Pierce the other day took a heart attack and died at 42. You could see it coming on, 'cause he worked as hard as you. In an hour, maybe more, you'll be wet clear through. Air is cooler now. Pull your hat brim further down and watch the field behind the plow. Turn to straight dark rows. Put another season's promise in the ground. And if the harvest's any good, the money just might cover all the loans. You've mortgaged all you own. Buy the kids a winter coat. Take the wife back east for Christmas if you can. All summer she hangs on when you're so tied to the land. Well, times come and go, but at least there's rain, so this won't be barren ground when September rolls around. So watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, put another season's promise in the ground. Watch the field behind the plow, turn to straight dark rows, put another season's promise in the ground.
1947, Merle Travis wrote, "My dad never saw real money. He was constantly in debt to the coal company. When shopping was needed, Dad would go to a window and draw little brass tokens against his account. They could only be spent at the company store. He used to say, 'I can't afford to die. I owe my soul to the company store.'"
Well, some people say a man is made out of mud, a poor man made out of muscle and blood, muscle and blood, and skin and bone, a mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in that same Peter, don't you call me now, I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Well, I was born one morning when the sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked to the mine. I loaded 16 tons of number 9 coal, and the straw boss said, "Now, bless my soul, you load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in that same Peter, don't you call me now, I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store." Now I was born one morning, it was drizzling rain, fighting and trouble, that's my middle name. I was raised in the canebrake by an old mama lion. There ain't no high-tone woman make me walk the line. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in that same Peter, don't you call me now, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Now if you see me coming, better step aside. A lot of men didn't, a lot of men died. I got one fist of iron, the other is steel. If the right one don't get you, then the left one will. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in that same Peter, don't you call me now, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
This is a poem written by Morris Rosenfeld, sweatshop worker and poet in 1880. The clock in the workshop, it rests not a moment. It points on and ticks on, eternity, time. Once someone told me the clock had meaning, in pointing and ticking and reason and rhyme. At times when I listen, I hear the clock plainly. The reason of old, the old meaning is gone. The maddening pendulum urges me forward to labor and still labor on. The tick of the clock is the boss in his anger. The face of the clock has the eyes of the foe. The clock, I shudder. Dost hear how it calls me? It calls me machine, and it cries to me, so.
My grandfather was a sailor. He blew in off the water. My father was a farmer, and I his only daughter. I took up with a no-good mill-working man from Massachusetts who dies from too much whiskey and leaves me these three faces to feed. Now mill work ain't easy, mill work ain't hard, mill work it ain't nothing but an awful boring job. I've been looking for a daydream to take me through the morning, to put me in my coffee break where I can have a sandwich and remember that it's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, and for the rest of my life. Now my mind begins to wander to the days back on the farm. I can see my father smiling at me, swinging on his arm. I can hear my granddad's stories of the storms out on Lake Erie, vessels full of cargoes and fortunes, and the sailors' lives were lost. But it's my life that has been wasted, and I have been a fool to let this manufacturer use my body for a tool. I can ride home in the evening, staring at my hands, swearing about my sorrow, that a young girl ought to stand a better chance. And me, I work the mill as long as I am able, and never meet the man whose name is on the label. But it's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, and for the rest of my life. Yes, it's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoons are gone, and for the rest of my life.
Came from China, where she never saw snow. In the huge rectangular room, the ceiling a machinery of pipes and fluorescent lights, 10 rows of women haunch over machines, and hands pushing the shiny fabric, thick as tongues through metal and thread. My mother bends her head to one of these machines. Her hair is coarse and wiry, black as burnt scrub. She wears glasses to shield her intense eyes. A cone of orange thread spins. Around her, talk flutters harshly in Toisanois. Chemical stings. She pushes cloth through a pounding needle, under, around, and out. Breaks thread with a snap against finger bone. Sleeve after sleeve, sleeve. It is easy, the same piece, for 8 or 9 hours. 16 bundles, maybe. 250 sleeves to ski coats, all the same. It is easy. Only once she's run the needle through her hand. She earns money by each piece. On a good day, $30. 24 years. It is frightening how fast she works. She and the woman who were taught sewing terms in English as a second language. Dull thunder passes through her fingers.
The spirit of the worker, tempered by adversity and strengthened by the fellowship of shared burdens, is unquenchable through the hardest trials.
My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentations. I hear the real, though far-off hymn that hails the new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds the echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest loudly roars? I hear the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love is Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble sick with fear, and hear their death knell ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? In prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway clears, since first I learned to love it. The peace of God restores my soul, a fountain ever springing. All things are mine since I am loved. How can I keep from singing? My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentations. I hear the real, though far-off hymn that hails the new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear its music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
In the mills, mines, and factories, men and women are banding together to use their collective powers to better their lives for all, for better, safer conditions, and for better pay. And in spite of detractors and finks, it is working.
There once was a union maid who never was afraid of the goons and the ginks and the company finks and the deputy sheriffs who made the raids. She went to the union hall when a meeting it was called, and when the company boys came round, she always stood her ground. If you know this chorus, Join me. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. This Union maid was wise to the tricks of the company spies. She never got fooled by a company stool. She'd always organize the guys. She always got her way when she struck for higher pay. She'd show her card to the company guard, and this is what she'd say. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. Once more. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. I always wanted to sing a song. It's called I Want to Be an Engineer. When I was a little girl, I wished I was a boy. I tagged along behind the gang and wore my corduroys. Everybody said I only did it to annoy, but I was gonna be an engineer. Mama told me, can't you be a lady? Your duty is to make me the mother of a pearl. Wait until you're older, dear, and maybe you'll be glad that you're a girl. Dainty as a Dresden statue, gentle as a Jersey cow, smooth as silk, gives creamy milk. Learn to coo, learn to moo. That's what to do to be a lady now. When I went to school, I learned to read and how to write, history, geography, and home economy. Typing was a skill that every girl is sure to need to while away the extra time until the time to breed. And then they had the nerve to say, what would you like to be? I said, I'm gonna be an engineer. No, you only need to learn to be a lady. The duty isn't yours to try and run the world. An engineer could never have a baby. Remember, dear, that you're a girl. So I became a typist and I study on the sly, working out the day and night so I can qualify. And every day the boss comes in and pinched me on the thigh, says I've never had an engineer. You owe it to the job to be a lady. It's the duty of the staff boy to give the boss a whirl. The wages that you get are crummy, maybe, but it's all you get 'cause you're a girl. She's smart for a woman. Wonder how she got that way. Get no choice, you get no voice. Just a mom, pretend you're dumb. That's how you get to be a lady today. Then Jimmy came along and we set up a conjugation. We were busy every night with loving recreation. I spent my day at work so he could get his education. Now he's an engineer. He says, I know you'll always be a lady. It's the duty of my darling to love me all my life. Could an engineer look after or obey me? Remember, dear, that you're my wife. As soon as Jimmy got a job, I studied hard again. Then busy at my turret lay the year or so, and then the morning that the twins were born, Jimmy says to them, kids, your mother was an engineer. You owe it to the kids to be a lady. Dainty as a dish rag, faithful as a child, Stay at home, you got to mind the babies. Remember you're a mother now. Every time I turn around, there's something else to do. Cook a meal or mend a sock or sweep a floor too. Listening to Jimmy Young, it makes me want to spew. I was gonna be an engineer. I really wish that I could be a lady. I could do the lovely things that a lady's supposed to do. I wouldn't mind if they would only pay me, and I could be a person too. But now the times are harder and my Jimmy's got the sack. I went down to Vickers, they were glad to have me back. I'm a third-class citizen, my wages tell me that, but I'm a first-class engineer. The boss, he says, I pay you as a lady. You only got the job 'cause I can't afford a man. With you I keep the profits high as maybe you're just a cheaper pair of hands. Well, I listened to my mother and I joined a typing pool. I listened to my lover and I put him through his school. But if I listen to the boss, I'm just a bloody fool and an underpaid engineer. I've been a sucker since I was a baby, as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother and a dear. But I'll fight them as a woman, not a lady. I'll fight them as an engineer.
Every morning at 4:28 someone is not to be late. I kiss the kids goodbye, I can't remember their names. Week after week it's always the same, and it's old boys trench coating. Woo, program it right. Nothing ever happens in this life of mine. I'm falling out the data on the Xerox line. Well, I code in the data, give the keyboard a punch. I then cross-correlate and I break for some lunch. I correlate, tabulate, process, and screen. Program, print out, regress to the mean, and it's old boys trench coding. Whoa, program it right. Nothing ever happens in this life of mine. I'm hauling out the data on the Xerox line. Then it's home again, meet again, watch some TV. I make love to my woman at 10:53. I dream the same dream when sleeping at night. I'm soaring over hills like an eagle in flight, and it's old boys trench coding. Whoa, program it right. Nothing ever happens in this life of mine. I'm hauling out the data on the Xerox line. Well, someday I'm gonna give up all these buttons and things. I'll punch that time clock until it can't ring. I give up my necktie, set myself free, 'cause no one's gonna fold, bend, and mutilate me, and it's old boys trench coding. Woo, program it right. Nothing ever happens in this life of mine. I'm hauling out the data on the Xerox line, and it's old boys trench coding. Whoa, program it right. Nothing ever happens in this life of mine. I'm hauling out the data on the Xerox line.
Teach me a marching song before I die, from the book of verse by Julia Rutilla. For my father who died with his boots on, the song of the cross-cut saw, his requiem at the end. Freedom is the star my father sought, on the dark hillside that he knew was home, and it was taller than the spar tree. It was brighter than the wild current in the western loam. His flag and banner was the picket sign. The bunkhouse was his pulpit, and he taught the one big union. Many a drunken sot forswore the corn to hearken to his word, and was reborn a rebel and a man. In the brave days before 4L began, where hunger and want were his faith declared, the battle joined, no peace could be. He lived those words, they were his history. But still, he died, as many a logger must, in his own blood, and his obituary is written up in SIA statistics. It says he died because of the safety code. It had vowed to profit on the logging road. The red upon the axe today is rust. The logger's dream has crumbled into dust. My father's sky has narrowed to one strike, one camp, one mill, but freedom's sky extends beyond the hill. Teach me a marching song before I die.
thanks all of you for coming in out of the gorgeous weather we had today accidentally, not according to the weatherman. And I want to thank all the performers who took